Hello, it's so lovely to meet you all. I am Ellie, and I'm so excited for the E+E book club to become a thing. And this is going to be our first video, which is going to be a monthly wrap-up of what we read in May.
Hey guys! So I'm Evie, I'm the other E in E+E Book Club, and I'm very excited for our first YouTube video as Ellie has already introduced our May monthly reading wrap-up.
Okay, so the first book that I read for May was Killer Instinct by Jennifer Lynn Barnes, and this is, I believe, the third book in the Natural series. I did rate this 4 out of 5 stars, and this was one of the first books that I've ever rated part of the Naturals as 4 stars instead of 5. All the other books 5 stars. Such an amazing and good series. I absolutely loved this book. The thrill was just great. The chemistry, honestly one of the best written love triangles that I've personally ever read. So I would definitely recommend that you would jump into the Naturals, especially if you're getting into a reading slump. That is an amazing series to get out of a reading slump. So yeah, I think I finished this in 3 days. Not really sure. I should probably have my Goodreads up next to me. But now I'm gonna see what Evie read.
So the first book that I read in May was the third book in the Truly Devious series by Maureen Johnson. This is The Hand on the Wall, and I really enjoyed this mystery series. I think I gave overall a 4 stars for the whole series. The book itself could have had a bit of a better mystery, but altogether it was a really good book. The vibe, if you want a good autumn read, I would definitely recommend this trilogy. It's got a subplot romance, it's got a mystery, and it's got really interesting characters. So yeah.
Okay, the next book that I read for this month was the next book in the Natural series, All In. Okay, I'm gonna be so real. So many people, like Evie, she might tell you about this book. I think she read it this month, maybe she didn't. She might have read it the month before. But Evie rated this book I think 4, even 5 stars out of 5. And this was my least favorite book in the series. And it's so funny because me and Ev always talk about how we just have a very different taste in books. She's rated The Prison Healer a 5-star series, and I personally have not. So we'll talk about that later in the review though. But All In, I basically DNF'd this. I'm gonna be so real. Because I was reading it on PDF, I didn't get the book set of this until later in the month. No, earlier in the month I got this. And I had already written the PDF of this. By the way, if you want cool, good free books downloaded, there's this amazing website called OceanodPDF. You just search it up and you can download any book that you can think of for free and you can read the whole thing. It's saved me so many times. It's amazing. So I will definitely link that in the description box below. I feel so cool saying that. Guys, I've never had a YouTube channel, so saying stuff like that is just really cool. Anyways, All In, I rated this I think 2 or 3 stars out of 5 because I think I DNF'd it. Or I think I read it, but I just didn't really soak in the whole plot. But I think I'm definitely going to reread it because I want to get back into the series and finish the last book, which is Bad Blood. So that's going to be a part of my next monthly read. But yeah, maybe I think it was just I was the problem, not the book. So I think it was 3 stars out of 5, but I'm going to be rereading this.
The next book that I read in May was the first book in the Jennifer Lynn Barnes series, The Naturals. Now this series genuinely, it changed my reading forever. All the hype that you hear about this series, it deserves it. It genuinely is. I read this book in a day. It is the easiest read and it's so thrilling and I loved it.
Okay, now I was a little late to the party because I was traveling. I could not get my hands on this book as soon as it was released. I'm telling you, as soon as it was released, Evie had it. She pre-ordered it, and I should have done the same, but I didn't. I was like, no, it's fine. It's gonna be everywhere. It wasn't everywhere. I went to Kmart. I went to Big W while I was still in Adelaide, and it wasn't anywhere. And I was like, I'm not gonna pay $25 to $28 for it at a QPD store. I'm just gonna wait it out. So then when I went to Queensland, I was like, oh yeah, it's gonna be there. It wasn't there for so long, bro. I didn't pick this up until like maybe like the 15th of May, and it got released like the 25th of April. I know, because I was, wait, was it? No, it wasn't the 25th. Maybe it was. I don't know. But it got released literally like in April, and I was so excited because I've already read and rated the Powerless series. It's like one of my most favorite series ever. Anyways, back to this book. 4.5 stars. This is so funny because, again, me and Evie had such different views on this book. Like, it wasn't my favorite book of the series, but I really, really, really enjoyed this book. And Evie was talking about how she liked it, but she didn't really like it as much as I did. I sobbed my freaking heart out in this. Like, it was so good. I initially rated it 5 stars, but me and Evie were also saying that we need to take time to, like, let ourselves, like, soak in the book. And I've done that. And I've rethought, and I'm like, okay, it's not a 5-star read. It's gorgeous. It's amazing. But my favorite book will always be Reckless. I'm sorry, but Reckless, that is an amazing book. I freaking love that book so much. And Don't Come After Me, but I still haven't read Powerful. Yeah, so I've started it like 5 times, and I think I'm like that much into it. It's only like that big. But yeah, this took me 4 days to finish. I loved it, couldn't stop thinking about it, like, loved it so much.
So of course the second book that I read in May was Killer Instinct. This is just the second book. It picks up right off where the first book left off. I think I gave this, the first one I gave 5 stars, if I didn't mention that. This one I gave a 4 star. So yeah.
Okay, the next book that I read might get a little bit of controversy on the rating that I gave it. The 7-Year Slip. I gave this, I think, 2 stars out of 5. I will just reiterate, if I get the ratings wrong, I will look over my Goodreads and we will just quickly, like, you know, edit. But I rated this, I'm pretty sure, like 3 or 2.5 stars out of 5. That's because I loved the concept of this book. Let me tell you, the concept of this book is that Clementine West, she goes to her aunt's apartment, and her aunt had told her when she was little that it was like magical or something. She said something along the lines of it's magical, and she had always thought that it was just like a good place, like a safe space. But she goes home and finds a man in her kitchen, and she's like, what the heck is going on? So they fall in love, and I was like, that sounds so cute, because she gets taken 7 years. That's why it's called the 7-Year Slip. Did I say the 5-year slip? Am I just tripping? Because I nearly said like 5 years, so that made me think maybe I said, anyways. Sidetracking. She gets put 7 years into the past, and I thought what was gonna happen was that this was like a second chance romance, that this was an ex-boyfriend and that they've gone 7 years back and now they're gonna fall in love, and I was like, that's so cute. No, that's not what happens in this book. I'm not gonna say what happens, but basically if you're looking for that kind of trope, don't read this, because that's not what this was. And also, half the time this book, I don't know, it just kind of annoyed me, because like, you got this far in, right? And she was like 7 years in the past, and then I was like, okay, cool. I'm expecting her for like the rest of this to be like 7 years in the past, and then something tragic's gonna happen and she's back in the present. It's like, no, how do I go back? And then she's gonna go back 7 years in the past and ditch her job and like be with the man of her life, love of her life. Not what happens at all. So I'm not gonna lie, I did skim read like the end of this because I realized that this was not the trope that I wanted. And it's so sad because Haley Pham literally loves this book so much, and I love Haley Pham. You'll know we all love Haley Pham. But yeah, 2.5 to 3 stars out of 5.
And then of course the third book in the actual series. As Ellie has already said, or depends how I edit this, she's about to say it, she didn't like this book. So that was shocking to me, because this was actually my favourite book in the series. The ending to this book, I've never come across a plot twist so insane. Like, insane. I rated this 5 stars. I really want Ellie to try this book again, because I think she'd really enjoy it if she had the right mindset. Yeah, this book is amazing.
Okay, this next book I'm actually so shocked about, because I picked it up in Kmart and I was like, this is just gonna be a cute little read, like, it's whatever. Genuinely one of the best. Okay, also guys, I got into tabbing. Like, me and the girls went out, me, Ella, and Evie. You guys don't know Ella, but you will know Ella soon. We went out as a cute little like girly book day, and we went out and we got books in the city. It was so fun. Oh my goodness, we got like iced matchas, and I picked up this book, and we also picked up a bunch of book tabs from Kmart because we were like, you know what, we're gonna start tabbing. Let me tell you, like, this book, so freaking good. I never ever, I'm pretty sure I rated this 4 stars out of 5. I have never read a book where there's been a trope where someone's had to like been piggybacked, and that happens in this, and it's become one of my new favorite tropes now. I don't know if it's like originally a trope or if it's just like a little thing that would happen in romance, but I'm gonna say it's a trope. Also, I underlined everything too. Like, here's just like a little thing that I underlined, just a dedication. Like, how freaking cute is that? Like, how freaking cute. I am just gonna say, for the girls who love a good YA, this does have a little bit of spice, but you can totally skip it. Totally skippable. I think it's like a full chapter or something of just spice, but you can just skip it, just skim over it, just, you know. But it is super, super cute, super heartwarming. Like, I literally, please read this book. Please read it. Like, just give it a chance, because this actually made me laugh out loud as well. Like, it made me laugh. It literally made me laugh so freaking hard. And I'm so excited because a second book is going to be coming about this guy's best friend, and he has a romance with the weather girl on the radio station. And I'm so freaking excited because the moment that I read that there was banter going on, like background banter between his friend and this weather girl, I was like, they should have a romance novel. And BK Morrison, she read our minds. She delivered so good. Please read it.
And of course, do I even have to say, the next book I read was Bad Blood, the 4th book in the Natural series. This book was a lot chunkier than the rest. It started off pretty slow, and that kind of, it took me a while to read this, is what I'm going to say. It took me a while to get into it, because especially with All In ending on such a crazy time and such a crazy ending, I expected this to have a bit more of like a interesting start, but it did start very slow. But towards the middle, it got a lot more interesting, and the end blew my mind. So, yeah.
Okay, my next book was like my most anticipated read for this month, and I didn't realize it was until I was scrolling on Goodreads one day, and I found this book, and I was like, holy heck, this sounds like the most amazing book. I wanted to read it so bad that I committed to buying it from QBD. It was like $20, I think, $25 or something. I think it was $24.99. For me, that's a lot of money. Usually I'm a Kmart girly, and I'm so mad because the second I finished this book, Evie sent me a screenshot of it being sold. Like, it's soon gonna be sold at Kmart for $12. So guys, if you hear me talking about this and you're like, I kind of want to read this now, get it from Kmart. $12. Easy. Okay. I freaking loved the concept of this book. Let me tell you the concept of this. Okay. Evelyn, it's so funny. Me and Evie were talking about how, like, Evelyn is literally the name of the character. Anyway, it's not that funny. Evelyn has lived countless lives, and in every single one, she's been killed before her 18th birthday. Okay. But in her present life, her little sister needs her in order to stay alive. To save her sister and make it past her 18th birthday, she'll have to 1. Find the century-old enemy who hunts her through each life. 2. Figure out why she's being hunted so that she can break the curse once and for all. And most importantly, she's going to try to not fall in love with them again. I'm going to leave it at that. I will say again that this trope is probably not what you're expecting, just like 7 Year Slip, but I loved the way that this worked out. So please go and read this. This was a 4 stars out of 5. And me and Evie are soon going to be doing a video where we're going to convince you guys to read our favorite books of the month or of the year, or like past favorites, based off of songs that we just, you know, when you're reading a book and you read something, you're like, oh my gosh, this literally matches a song, because I listen to a lot of music when I read. So we're going to come out with that video very soon. Do not even worry, guys. This was so good. Please read it.
So a quick little snippet about this next book I read, which was, I'm going to put it somewhere on the screen, it was 12, the novella for the Natural series. I rated that 3 stars, I think. It's very optional to read it. I just read it because it was in the back of this, like the whole novella was in the back of this book, so I read it because it was there. Yeah, very optional, but it was interesting and it was a cool little story. But yeah. Okay, honestly, I don't really remember what order I read these books in, but I'm pretty sure my next read was Better Than the Movies by Lynn Painter. This was my 4th or 5th read of this book. I love this book. I read it when it came out because Hayley Pham made a YouTube video on it, and I've always loved her videos. So as soon as that video came out, I ordered this, and it's literally been my favourite romance book since. And I reread it like probably once a year, maybe twice. But yeah, this book is amazing, and if you haven't read it yet, please read it. Lynn Painter is such an insanely good author, and she takes YA to like another level. She's amazing. So yeah, 5 stars, of course.
My next read was a spur of the moment purchase. Look, I was out in the town, I was shopping at Kmart, and I saw this book and I said, what the heck? And I picked it up, and I was like scared. I wanted to read it because I wanted to feel good about the fact that I had read this chunky ass book, and also I had seen it like on Goodreads, and I read the reviews and people were like really rude about it, like 1 stars and stuff, and I was like, surely it can't be that bad. And that is, my friends, When the Moon Hatched by Sarah A. Parker. First thing that I could not get over when I was reading this book is how gorgeous it is. Look at the cover, gorge. The side, gorge. I also tapped this book. Let me open it. Very cool. It looks golden on the camera. It's not golden. I didn't see this. So it has, if you can't see that, it has like a little explicit warning thing. And I probably should have looked at that before I bought it, because it's one of the reasons that I DNF'd this book. Look at that map though. I will still defend this book with my life, saying that it's one of the most beautiful. What the heck? If you can't read that, it says, for those who feel small and quiet, spread those wings and roar. It's a little cringe, but like the dragon art has me sold. Look at that. Look at that. Okay, the one thing that I was straight away like a little about is that there are gods in this book, and as a Christian girly, I only believe in one God. But yeah, so it's a little bit of a red flag for me when I see like when I see gods like with a capital G in fantasy novels, and me and Ev talk about this as well. We're both Christian girlies. We both, well, she's Christadelphian and I'm Christian, and we both like just get a little bit whenever we read a book that's like advertising their god with a capital G. So that's one thing I will say, but that's not why I didn't finish it. Look at that, gorgeous. The reason why I DNF'd this is because I got halfway through and there was a very spicy scene, and I was like, if this is them like without knowingly confessing their love to each other, like this is them just like having a go for it, I don't want to be here when they're actually in love and decide to hanker-panker. I rated that 2.5 stars out of 5, I'm pretty sure. I mean, read it if you want to go. Like, if you think that that's your thing. Like, I definitely want to read more books with dragons in it, and I got my brother to read it, and he said it was pretty good, and that I should probably read it. But yeah.
So the next book I read is a little bit random, but it was The Host by Stephanie Meyer. So, a couple of friends recommended this book to me, and safe to say, I was terrified. What is this cover? What is this? It's gigantic. I was like, okay, so I borrowed it from my friend, and then I was at the thrift store and I found it. So I got my own copy, which was pretty cool. This book, like, blew my mind. All my expectations for this book were like, it's the author of Twilight. Like, I wasn't expecting it to be an insanely good book. I was so wrong. This book might have been the best read of May. Possibly, like, not could have been the best read of the year. It's a standalone, so, you know, there was nothing to read after this, which was actually quite a relief, because after reading such a massive book, having to go onto the second book is hard. But it was nice to just finish this and be done. The ending was so amazing. I loved the characters in this. Like, you just got such a amazing, like, character development for each and every character. And the dynamic between the girl and, if you haven't read the synopsis for this book, maybe go read it, but the girl and the alien that invades her mind is, like, the dynamic between those two, you would never have expected it, but oh my goodness. Like, this book has, like, a genuine special place in my heart. Like, I love this book. 5 stars, of course.
Okay, I feel like I always have, like, a skim read book whenever I'm like, I want to read a book, but I don't want to, like, dedicate my life to it. And I'm probably going to reread this book, because that book was If He Had Been With Me by Laura Nolan. Now, I was warned before going to this book that it was, like, really traumatic. I was also warned that it was, like, cringy, and it was, because why the heck was our girl wearing a crown, a tiara to school? Like, who? It sounded like she was with the cool kids, and she talks about herself that she doesn't belong in the cool kid group, and I'm like, girl, don't say that about yourself. And then she says that she wears freaking tiaras to school, and I'm like, oh, yeah, girl, you know what, get out. Look, I was meaning to tab it, but I didn't, because that's, like, how quickly I read it. I didn't have to, so I feel like I don't really have, like, a rating for it, because I didn't really properly read it. But if I had to, I would say 1.5 out of 5.
So the next book I read was The Summer of Broken Rules by K.L. Walther. I think this book, I had a lot of high expectations for this book, again, because Hayley Pham, I saw it in a recommendation videos of hers. She loves this book. And I take Hayley Pham's recommendations very seriously, and so does Ellie. So when I saw this, I was like, it has to be good. I think the problem with this book is I started reading it as I came off The Host, and it was such an insane difference that I think is a part of why I didn't love this book. And the other reason is I read it in the dead of winter. I think if I read this in, like, summer, I would have enjoyed it a lot more, but I didn't. The romance itself was really cute. It is definitely insta-love. It's, like, so insta-love. I was not expecting it, but it's immediate love, in fact. Like, they meet and they like each other. It's not a slow burn. But I still rated this, I think, a 3.5 stars, and I still enjoyed it. And I think, again, I would have enjoyed it so much more if I read it in the summertime, but that was my mistake. So, yeah, still a good book, but not my favourite.
Okay, the next book I read was The Gilded Cage. Now, I read The Prison Healer way back in April. That is not way back. That was, like, 2 months ago, a month ago, I don't know. I read it back in April because I keep saying my friend, guys, you know Evie. Evie gifted it to me. She got me the box set for my birthday. We share a birthday, by the way, and yes, we're gonna talk about it every freaking 5 minutes because it's also on World Book Day. So basically, we own the universe. Anyways, I read this. It got me back into the series because I read the first book and I wasn't really feeling it until, like, the very last page. And if you read, then you know the plot twist. You know the jaw-drop moment. But despite that, I ran straight to the next book. This was when I was on Queensland. I attempted to read this in April and I DNF'd it because I was traveling, and not because I didn't like it, but because I was traveling and I didn't have time. Like, the whole month I was just busy, so I didn't read. So I picked it back up towards the end of the month. This was my favorite book in the series, and Evie didn't like it. Evie didn't like it. Lots of people don't really like this book. They say it was their least favorite in the series. It was my favorite. I'm sorry, but towards the end, bro, I got such Once Upon a Broken Heart vibes. And if you do not know, Once Upon a Broken Heart is, like, one of my favorite trilogies of all time. Maybe even my favorite trilogy of all time. I mean, yeah, it is, because, like, Fearless, Powerless isn't really a trilogy. It's, like, basically a 4-book series. so freaking in love with this book. I'm sorry, I cried, I laughed, I ran to the next book. So I rated this, I think I rated this 5 stars out of 5. That's exciting. That's exciting. Read this. Read it. Read it. Yeah.
So the next book I read was Divine, where did I get that from? Rival Darling by Alexandra Moody. This author is an author from Adelaide, Australia, which is cool. This is the first book I've ever tabbed, which I think was pretty cool. I never have tabbed a book before and it was just fun. I think it's cool with romance books to have a little fun with them. Like, I don't often do this with fantasy books because I think there'd be too much to like think about and tab, and I don't want to have to tab when I'm already trying to figure out what the heck is going on, you know. So when it's just a simple romance book, like, I think it's really fun and I really enjoyed this book. I think I rated it a 4 stars and I'm so excited for the next book in this series. It's a YA hockey romance. Like, need I say more? It's so perfect.
But I did read another book in May and it was called Midnights with You. I'm pretty sure it's by, I don't have the book because I read it on PDF, but it's like a romance about like a girl who gets driving lessons and there's like a whole subplot with like her mom, like issues, family issues, and it was really, really good and I would rate it 4 stars out of 5. I definitely think that you guys need to read it. If you love romance. I know her last name was Osaka, I'm pretty sure. I will double check it though. And if you can put a photo here, right here, photo of the book. Yep, so it's called Midnights with You. Really good, 4 stars, you should read it.
So the next book I read was, I'll insert it here because I read it on PDF. And like Ellie said, description box below, I will link where we read our PDFs because it's such an amazing website. But I read I Hate You More by Alexandra Moody. And look, coming off of this, I expected a lot. And I know I shouldn't have because that was her most recent release, and I Hate You More I think came out in 2019, so she had a lot of development. I'm gonna be honest, I gave it 1 star. It was, okay, maybe I was being harsh, maybe 2 stars, but first of all, the main character, insufferable. She was so annoying. I was like, I understood why the boy hated her so much. I was like, I would hate her too. But of course she had some development, which was nice, and I grew to like her. But the book itself was just so bad. The romance was there for sure, but it was the cringiest romance I've ever witnessed in my life. Don't read this book unless I read it in a day. So unless you really need something cringe and awful to read this. But if you don't read it.
Now we have my last and most disappointing read of the month. And this is gonna cause an uprising. This is gonna cause a kidnapping, I reckon. So, but here we go. The Blood Trader. Lynette Noni. You let me down, girl. If you want to see my Goodreads rant, I will put it somewhere. I'll put it somewhere. I'll read it out somewhere in the video. Because, what was that? This was me, right? This was me. My favorite character is Calden. So take that what you will if you read the series. We all had a little jump scare moment, and that's what powered me through to read the rest of this book. I was so close to DNFing it. I'm sorry. What the heck happened to Jaren? I didn't know we were manipulated, Jaren. What the heck? Why were we regress? Bro was so toxic. I'm sorry, I'm not gonna rant about this because if I start, I won't be able to stop. 2.25 stars out of 5. It might have even been 2 stars out of 5. I don't know. Yeah.
So So the next book I read was The Rose Bargain by Sasha Peyton Smith. So Ellie actually gave me this book for my birthday, and I didn't read it immediately because I wasn't in a fantasy phase at that point. But a month later, here we are. I've read it, and I really enjoyed this book. I'm definitely going to read the next book when it comes out. I think I gave it a 4 stars, possibly. I think it was 4. I actually enjoyed this book a lot. It's not YA. Whatever anybody tells you, this isn't YA. It's definitely more YA than most books, but it's not YA. You know what I mean? So there's definitely some spice, but it's very easy to skip if that's what you like to do. Yeah, nothing, like, it was super easy to skip. But the plot itself was so amazing that I genuinely, like, the romance didn't affect me. Even though, and I'm going to be honest, it wasn't very slow burn. It was a little bit insta-love, but not, like, immediate. The romance didn't fully grab my attention, grab my heart, but the plot did. And the plot is what I will be reading the second book for. And I'm hoping that the romance has a bit of development. But yeah, I really enjoyed this. So my last read of May was Wandering Wild by Lynette Noni. I know Ellie has some beef with Lynette, because I love the Prison Healer series. It was like one of my favourite series ever. So when I heard Lynette was coming out with a contemporary romance, I was like, what is my slow burn queen gonna do with this? As I said in my Goodreads review, she grabbed slow burn. She really did, and she said, I'm gonna make this the slowest burn you've ever read. I don't know where I was going with that. The cover itself, like, hello, gorgeous. But yeah, and the little sprayed edges, I've never had a book with sprayed edges, and that was such a fun little surprise when I bought it. But yeah, this book is so cute. It's about a boy who's famous, and he's got a bad reputation, and he needs to fix his bad reputation. So him and one fan and a Bear Grylls type guy, if you know who Bear Grylls is, his name's Riken Hawk. They all go on this like wilderness excursion for 4 days in the Blue Mountains, which is really cool, in Australia. Anyway, basically, bad things happen. The girl and the boy have to go off by themselves, and they have to help each other, and she hates him, but she learns to not hate him. So yeah, it's a really sweet book, and if you like romance with a bit of an adventure, I really recommend this. I think I rated this 4 stars, so yeah. Okay guys, that is all the books I read for the month of May. I really enjoyed this month. It was such a good reading month, and I can't wait for June.
Hey y'all, I forgot to film an outro, so Effie just texted me, and this is what you're gonna get. I'm currently reading Scythe. I'm halfway through it. It's a really good book. That's you don't get to hear any more though, because that's gonna be in our, we in June or July? January, February, March, April, June. That's gonna be in our June wrap-up. Thanks for watching. First video that we've ever released or whatever. Really excited. I hope you guys liked it, and I'll see you soon.